Does your tween all of a sudden think that they are too old for your family traditions? Perhaps every year you do like an Easter egg hunt, and this year they think, oh, I'm too old for that, just give me my chocolate. Or you have a family gathering for birthday parties and they'd rather have a friend over. They just want to ditch the family party. Or maybe they've always chosen the game for Friday night games night and now they think, oh, those are dumb. What traditions do you love that your tweens aren't loving so much these days? Feel free to pop in the chat and let me know. If you are new here, I'm Marina Gabor. I am the founder of Tween Talk and the Life Skills Club. I'm super happy that you're here with me today. I am the mom of 3 older teen daughters, so I have been through the tween years and all of those ups and downs, and I want to encourage you today, hang on to those traditions. Here's why. We're going to talk through why it matters that you keep these traditions and how even though your tween might be saying, that's dumb, I don't want to do that, that's stupid, and they're going to use those kind of words and you're going to be feeling all of the feels like, oh, personally wounded. Like, how can you not want to do this? And I've put effort into this and I love you and I want. And what happens is then you start hanging on, but they're in the tween years where they're trying to push for independence. And the more you squish in and hang on to them, the harder they're going to push. So we're going to see how can you have these traditions, which are super important, and your tween needs you to keep the traditions, while still balancing that with a little bit of freedom. So maybe those traditions might look a little bit different. Here's the thing, traditions sort of equal security. They're sort of grounding. And it makes people feel loved, like you have roots. There's something familiar, like life is constantly changing, and a tradition is something you can sort of count on. So as your tween is going through these years, and it might seem like, oh, they're way in this, down in this low, and nothing is right, and they can't sort anything out, and everything is awful. And then they get themselves sort of sorted out. And then things are in an upswing for a while and you feel like, oh, I'm a great parent. This is great. And then they get more independence. They learn, they grow. And as that happens, then they kind of go into this dip again where they're like struggling to figure out how to integrate all of those things in their life. So it's this constant undulating up, down, and you get feeling a little seasick. If you have traditions, it doesn't matter where they are in that. It's like we always have Thanksgiving dinner. We have people over for Thanksgiving dinner. Great. Then you just always know. Even if they're in a bad mood, Thanksgiving dinner. Good mood, Thanksgiving dinner. It is there and they will feel secure in that. It is something, traditions are something to make you feel connected. In the tween years, they're trying to discover who they are, what they're about, and they might feel like they're not quite sure. Like, what do I want to be when I grow up? What do I like? What am I good at? Doesn't seem like I'm good at anything. Well, do I like these things? I don't know. Maybe I want to try these things. Maybe I'm scared to try because I won't be good. And so they're not really connected. But with traditions, it helps them stay connected. Those are those connecting points during the year. You have family birthday parties. Great, there's a connecting point. Even if they feel a little bit lost, they know they're going to have that time to connect. Maybe you still do have Easter egg hunts. Maybe that's your thing. Still have them. they'll still love the chocolate. They're happy to eat the chocolate. It's a connecting point. Traditions are also something to look forward to when life looks bleak. And in the tween years, sometimes tweens feel like life looks bleak. Like they can't figure out themselves. They're not quite sure who they are. And sometimes when they express that, they're met with negative responses because they haven't got it all figured out yet. But then to talk it out, people think that that's the final answer, and then they kind of freak out. So they feel like, where am I going with my life? It's a whole new phase. But if you have traditions to look forward to, at least if it's bleak here, you know, oh, well, St. Patrick's Day is coming up. We always do something about leprechauns or whatever it is that you've got that they're looking forward to, and you can help them look forward to that. They belong somewhere, and you get these shared experiences, these shared memories, which are super, super valuable. And those are the things that help carry you along. Those are the connecting points. Those are the parts where you feel like, I belong, I'm rooted. And even as I'm gaining independence, so as your tween is gaining independence, they still have those roots because of traditions. So what happens if they don't? If we don't have these traditions, we get anxiety, right? Where do I fit in? Things feel unstable. I need something to grasp onto. So we need those to help your tween kind of stay grounded. It links them with a larger community. So instead of feeling all disconnected, when we have traditions, they might have more feelings of like, oh, this is where I belong. This is my cultural identity. This is my family heritage. And I know over the years, my husband is Hungarian. I'm not Hungarian, but we took on some of those traditions because then our kids know, oh, this is where we come from. This is where we belong. Anticipating these events, these traditions, they help maintain a sense of optimism. As your tween is like, oh yeah, we have this thing coming up. So even though life is kind of boring, because this is the thing, during the tween years, it's like this wake-up call. Because in childhood, they're just playing and playing and playing, and life is about playing. And then they hit the tween years, and as they progress through those years, it becomes less about playing and more about the real stuff of life. Like they're moving towards adulthood. So they're taking on more responsibility, and they have to do boring things like chores and helping with dinner and taking out the trash and so on and so forth, finishing up their schoolwork. And that is boring. So when they have a tradition to look forward to, it helps them stay optimistic and motivated and moving forward. Traditions also help with self-esteem, confidence. Again, that sense of belonging. They know that I am part of this family. I'm part of this family culture. And they can move forward with confidence because they have a sense of identity. They know who they are and where they belong. And then thinking about these shared experiences and these shared memories, those help form meaningful connections. And that alone is worth maintaining traditions. Because when we have shared memories, when we have shared experiences, That builds this relationship capital. And as you build that relationship with your tween, you're going to need to have the goodwill that those traditions bring, because there's going to be some tough stuff to talk about. Your tween's not always going to like you, and that's okay. But if you have some positive shared memories to look back on, then we have these good things, and then we have these things that they don't love so much, and we are trying to get this relationship on good footing. But we're not doing things just to make them like us. We're trying to build meaningful connections so that when we have those hard conversations, we have an actual relationship. They know that we're looking out for their good, even in those difficult conversations. Now, I know firsthand how much tweens can push back. They'll say hurtful things that they don't necessarily mean. They'll say things are stupid, or they don't want to do things, and it feels like this personal attack. Like, you're not a good parent. Have you ever felt that? Like, my tween is just saying all of these things to me, and everybody wants their kid to like them. But here's the thing. You can be a good parent even if your kid doesn't currently like you. In fact, if your tween likes you all the time, check your parenting. Who's leading the relationship? As the adult, as the parent, as the mom, it's your job to nurture, help them grow. You see the bigger picture. You have a greater life experience. You have perspective. You have a long history. And you are bringing all of that to help your tween have the best life experience. They don't see that. They have this limited view. And so they're pushing back based on this limited view. And so they might not always like you. And you say, well, this is for your good. And they're going to push back about some of these traditions. It's tempting just to give in and go, whatever, I don't have it in me to push back. But I encourage you, do not give up. Hold fast, and maybe create new traditions or modify the ones you have to better suit your tween. Now, here's the thing. They want independence. They want independence. They want to feel like they're in control of their life. Fair enough. That's the wings. They want the wings, but they also need the roots. So, introduce activities or talk about traditions with a what's in it for them kind of mentality. They need to think that it's in my best interest to do this tradition. It could be they're going to learn a new skill. They're going to actually have fun. They're going to be able to socialize with people that they like. Whatever their personal benefits are, that's how you're framing it. So it's like, oh yes, Easter dinner is coming up. Who should we invite this year? We often like to invite different people for Easter dinner. And it's always been, well, who should we invite? And we have this discussion. You can also incorporate their interests. So perhaps they would like to do an Easter egg hunt. Easter is on my brain because it's coming up here. They'd like to do an Easter egg hunt, but they're not really interested in doing a whole scavenger hunt thing and so on and so forth. They just want to keep it simple. Why not? It doesn't have to be the same way that it's always been. And it could be that you buy the certain kind of chocolate that they like to do the Easter egg hunt. So you still have the tradition, It might just look a little bit different as you are incorporating some of their interests, their choices, which brings us to choices, which again shows that or helps them feel a little bit more in control of the situation. Say you always do a family birthday party. Great. Maybe they want to bake the cake this time. Maybe they want to be in charge of decorations. Whatever the case, we're giving them some choice. Maybe they can help choose when the birthday party is. Who's coming to this family birthday party? Are all the cousins coming? Is it the grandparents? Is it a family only? Where will you go? So there's lots of ways where you can still have that same tradition, but in the tween years, it might start to look different. The main thing is start talking with your tween about these traditions. How do they feel about them? What is their perspective? And actually listen. There's a quick rule of like this 1 to 5, meaning you talk 1 minute, listen for 5. So if you're asking them, what do you think about traditions? Ask them the question and then see if they can talk for 5 minutes. If they start talking, and then you can repeat the end of the statement, and then they'll keep talking and repeat the end of the statement, and they'll keep talking, and you can find out more about how they really feel about it. And once you do, then you can adapt. You can think about new traditions, but overall they'll feel like you are respecting their feelings. You're acknowledging that they're growing up and this tradition might look different moving forward. And so instead of resenting the traditions, they'll feel heard and go, okay, I'm going to take some ownership of this. I'm getting to be more independent. And now this tradition is also mine. It's not just something that you've always done that you're kind of putting on them, but they start taking ownership of that. It starts being part of who they are and what their roots are. So above all, remember, traditions help with helping your tween feel secure, helping them feel loved. It's something familiar when life is changing. It's something to stay connected when they feel disconnected. It's something to look forward to when life looks kind of bleak. It shows that they belong. They fit in somewhere. And then you have these shared experiences that you can build your relationship with. And your tween will look back fondly on these crazy traditions you had, and they'll evolve over time, and they will feel loved, even when it seemed like they hated it at the time. I would love to know, what is one tradition that you'd like to keep, even though your child is now in these tween years? Jot it in the chat below. Would love to connect with you. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Tween Talk, and I will see you again next week.